I'd like to take this opportunity, first of all, to thank Lurek.com for allowing me to, from Montreal, Canada, to make my presentation about our experience with Global Gold Corporation, Mr. Van Krikorian, and working in Armenia. We started it with Global Gold back in 2009, where we signed an initial agreement to cooperate on developing the Marjan project. By March 2010, we signed the final agreement. Unfortunately, um, once we started confirming that there was gold on the property, Global Gold did everything they could to cancel the agreement. And I think it's just a function of greed. Because I'm not the lawyer, but when you make a business deal and you shake hands on the deal, and you also signed agreements with between people, especially Mr. Van Krikorian, who's a very reputable, supposedly very reputable person, who's very active in the Armenian community. He is a former, I think, chairman of the Armenian Assembly of America. He's a member of the Board of Trustees. He has worked as a lobbyist in Washington, D.C., representing Armenian cause. And he has had many business dealings in Armenia and has many, many, many contacts within the government, including the president's office, the prime minister's office, and the U.S. embassy. So when you do a deal, the intent is to do a deal. But when someone like Van Krikorian comes in and tries to take the deal back by renegotiating the deal, reinterpreting the deal, it's very difficult to do business with a man like that. And unfortunately, he realized we weren't going to back down, and he did everything in his power, including corrupt actions, to try to take the project away. Our initial deal with Global Gold and Van Krikorian was to pay $3 million for the project, which included an initial exploration on the project so we can confirm the data that Global Gold claimed there was gold on the property, and also claimed there were reserves on the property. So we raised over $4 million to work on this project. On Marjan itself, exploration, geology, employees, drilling, analysis, over $1.2 million was spent. We also paid concession and license fees for 2010 and 2011, over $100,000, approximately $100,000. And we paid Global Gold directly cash $150,000. And this is just the beginning. If we had the project today, we would have been spending another $10 million on the project. Global Gold, through the administrative court, took the project back, but to this day has not spent one penny on the project. In fact, they claim they spent $3 million on the project, but from my analysis, I doubt they spent more than $1 million. They never mined the project. They never built a mining plant on the project. And under the agreement, they were supposed to mine 150,000 tons by April 2012. They own the project, and they're still not doing any mining. So they want all the benefits to own the project, but they don't want to do any work on the project. And the reason they wanted it back is simple. Gold prices, when we signed the deal, was $800 an ounce, and then the prices went up to $1,200. Today, they're $1,800 an ounce. Silver went from $9 to $10 an ounce to up to $30, $31 an ounce. So I believe because of greed, Global Gold, Mr. Van Krikorian, decided that selling it to $3 million to Caldera was very cheap, and he took the project back. He wanted it back. He did everything in his power, including corruption, to get it back. And this is where we are today. The list is too long to cover it here on this interview, and there's a lot of details to cover. But at the end of the day, when Global Gold told us there were reserves on the project, it turns out there are no reserves on the project. When Global Gold got a license on the project, Marjan project, it is clear today that the license was illegally given. Global Gold knew this. And I think this is one of the reasons they wanted us to get involved, to say, look, Caldera came here to do the work. They didn't do the work. They acted illegally. It's their fault, not our fault. So it is very interesting that Global Gold complained that we weren't doing work on the project when the license was clearly not properly issued, and clearly Global Gold for 3 years did no work on the project when they were supposed to. And in order to get it back, they filed illegal criminal complaint against us. They corrupted the prosecutor. His name is A. Afandian, who signed an agreement, signed a letter to prosecute. He's either corrupt or an idiot, because it said that we stole the project when I had clearly documents that he sold it to me. And then they started this criminal investigation that lasted for 11 months. After that, they took the criminal investigation and they sent letters to everybody in Armenia, from the minister to the prime minister to the Department of Justice, calling Bill Mavridis from Caldera a criminal, Azat Vardanian from Marjan Mining a criminal, and also calling the head of the registry department, Artur Azarian, that he claimed that he took bribes. Yet they never filed a complaint for bribes, but they said it to everybody to try to paint us, which I call tar and feather. From there, they went to the U.S. Embassy and made lies to the U.S. Embassy. And I do not know why the U.S. Embassy did this, but the ambassador, Yovanovitch, before, now it's John Heffern, before it was Ms. Yovanovitch, the ambassador went to visit Prime Minister Tigran Sargsyan the first week of June. June 14th, they sent a letter to Prime Minister Tigran Sargsyan to inform them about our criminal activity. What criminal activities? These were lies perpetrated by Mr. Krikorian. And plus, the criminal investigation showed there were no activities. So Mr. President Obama, through the ambassador, comes to Prime Minister Tigran Sargsyan and tells him, Global Gold is a friend of ours. They are not being treated well, and you should do something about it. I don't blame Mr. Sargsyan for passing the order to the system and telling the judge to make sure they rule in favor of Global Gold. But at the end of the day, that is corruption. And we know that the original judge, Christina Mikoyan, had to recuse herself because of the links to Global Gold and her favoritism. And then the new judge, Hagopian, ruled in favor of Global Gold 1 week, 2 weeks after the U.S. Embassy got involved. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because at the end of the day, the corruption goes much further, including Kuryun Agopian, who is the head of the concession department, who helped Global Gold to avoid their problems. Well, you have to understand that the arbitration in the U.S. is still going on. Even though the arbitrator had passed one ruling, all he ruled was that the agreement was not effective. But that's just the March agreement. We had an agreement from December 2009, and that agreement says that Global Gold is going to enter into an agreement with us. And under my understanding of that rule, it is very clear that Global Gold has to sign a deal with Caldera. Global Gold has to do the deal on Marjan. And we will fight till the end. I've been informed by our lawyers in Armenia several times that the results of the administrative court and appeals appear to be corrupted. And I believe that at the end of the day, if I go to European court, fortunately, I got to finish the arbitration first. Having said that, the project does not belong to Global Gold. And I believe once it's fully investigated by the ministry, unfortunately, the license would be canceled. And the license should be canceled. It's illegally issued. There are no reserves on the property. It is impossible to get the license, a mining license, without reserves. This is a pattern we've seen many, many times with Global Gold. Even today, I understand that the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources, their controllers department, has issued a report that analyzed, at the request of Global Gold, the status of the license, and even the ministry, I believe, has issued a report and has sent it to Global Gold. Unfortunately, Global Gold is hiding it, and that report says that the license should be canceled because it was illegally issued. There are no reserves on the property. The people are hardworking, they're very honest, they want a good day's pay for a good day's work, and investors like us only help promote Armenia and help promote people of Armenia. But unfortunately, people like Global Gold and Van Krikorian are only interested in how they can manipulate situations in their favor all the time. And it's regrettable, but this is where we are today.